but we sometimes lack to find the true ways to reach our buyers. And on so many occasions, we follow the same routes to achieve our goals and do not receive the level of success. Times are changing, my friends, and we must also explore new avenues to find resources to explore and to follow. We have an illustrious panel today, and I shall introduce the same. To start with, we have Chirag Parekh, an eminent young personality, schooled in London, graduated from New York. Chirag entered the diamond industry in 2008. He got his hands on training in his factory. He slowly learned to manage the jewelry factory and all it takes to actually run it successfully. Chirag also entered into the online sale of diamonds in the name of janamcorp.com. His company has a rough manufacturing facility at Turbhe. Mr. Parekh, with his strong business acumen, international exposure, tremendous wisdom, and sound management skills, has set Janam Corporation on a sound growth path today. Chirag is also part of the BDB committee in Mumbai. We have also with us Chandra Prakash D. Siroya. Shri Chandubhai Siroya, as he is well known, is the MD of Siroya Jewellers LLC, one of Dubai's dynamic companies. He has vast experience in manufacture, wholesale, and the retail of jewelry. The Siroyas are the recipient of the award of the highest importer of gold jewelry from India into the Middle East for 2019 and have been the highest importer of Indian jewelry for continuously 12 years. Siroya Jewellers have also been awarded the Guinness World Record for the manufacture of the world's longest handmade gold chain, which measured 5.52 kilometers for the Dubai Gold and Jewelry Group during the Dubai Shopping Festival in 2015. Mr. Siroya is also the vice chairman of the Dubai Gold and Jewelry Group. He has been a very active member of the board since the past 26 years. Mr. Siroya is also a member of the Dubai Gold Advisory Group at the DMCC and has been a speaker at various gold conferences. He is actively involved with the Jain community of Dubai, and he is also the IPP of Jito in Dubai. We have with us another young and dynamic Ankit Gala. Ankit's grandfather started the jewelry business in 1977, and it was established as Valapsi Malsi and Company in 1981 in Mumbai. His family has been active as a manufacturer, exporter, wholesaler, retailer, and an importer of gold and diamond jewelry. One of the top 3 gold jewelry exporters from India since 1994, recognized by the Government of India as a 3-star export house status holder, preferred supplier to many reputed retailers in India and many traditional jewelers across the world. He offers a comprehensive range of 22-carat jewelry as well as 18-carat diamond-studded jewelry of the highest standards. The next panelist is Mr. Sunil Agarwal. He is the MD of Vaibhav Global Limited. He is an MBA from Columbia University in New York. An entrepreneur with professionally managed vertical business model, manufacturing sourcing units in India, China, Thailand, and Indonesia is among the first Indian companies keenly involved in the marketing on television and on e-commerce retail channels in the US and the UK. We have another personality, Mr. Ashish Shah, who belongs to the great family of Satish Bhai Shah, who was called the Churchill of the Indian diamond world. His company, Gold Star, continues to make new strides under his able supervision and guidance. As MD of the company, Ashish Bhai started his career as a diamond sorter and rose from his ranks to become the MD of Gold Star. This has enabled him to understand the nuances of the complete business right from the grassroots, that is the production stage. He is responsible for the key manufacturing manufacturing and distribution and international sales, and is the driving force behind the building a diverse workforce at Gold Star. The moderator for today is Mr. Hemant Shah for this panel. Hemant Bhai, as we all know, is an IIT graduate with great understanding and knowledge of the gem and jewelry industry of over more than 25, 30 years. He is a creator of ideas. He's a big creator of thought processes, and he can bring in tremendous value to any concept that you can come up with. He's also a revivalist of some of the unique and cultural dying arts of India. For example, the Bidri, axe, and many other Indian old arts. We have 90 minutes for this webinar totally, and we would request for a few minutes for questions and answers. So I hand over to Hemant Bhai to begin his webinar.
Thank you, Ashok Bhai. Thank you for the wonderful introduction of the panelists. You know what it has done to me? I'm so glad that you can only see my top half. Otherwise, sitting in such of an awesome panel, you would have seen my knees and my legs shivering. So thank you very much. And welcome to all the panelists. It is really a pleasure to have all of you here. And the topic today, as we all know, is the future and the changing scenario of exports. However, what we did when we were making the panel, we said, let us have 3 exporters from India, from the 3 different fields, but let us also have 2 importers who would be able to give us insights into what we as exporters should be doing in the future. Indian gem and jewelry industry has always been a leader when it comes to creating new business opportunities. How this industry became so famous, so popular, and so dominant in the global arena today is when our ancestors started cutting near gem quality stones so well that they could be sold as gem quality stones. And this is where India started its foray into the international gem and jewelry industry. Today, over 90% of the global diamonds come from India, directly, indirectly, that doesn't matter, but we control everything. And we also know that as a business, we have been growing continuously. And from the smaller and inexpensive stones, diamonds, we have today reached a stage where we cut, polish, market the larger and the high value diamonds also. When we talk of jewelry, diamond studded jewelry actually came into play predominantly as a vertical integration for the diamond industry. However, from being just a hothouse for manufacturing, maybe about 20 years back, at that time, all we used to do is to wait for our customers to come. They would come with a mold, they would come with a design, at times they would come with a sample, and we would make it at a far better price, which gave them far more value than what the other countries where they used to at that time manufacture give. But today, 20 years down the line, the jewelry industry in India has had their creative and especially their quality improvement juices flowing so well that today we in our own right are creators of high quality, both in terms of the physical manufacturing quality as well as the design ourselves. We have become leaders. And trust me, I do not believe there is any market today that can really exist in the kind of glory that they are existing in without the support of the Indian gem and jewelry industry. Talking of gold jewelry, that has been a tradition in India. I mean, there is no way that anybody can think of gold and jewelry, those 2 words together, without bringing India into the current scenario. Okay, predominantly selling handmade, handcrafted. which is an art in India, by the way. Handcrafted jewelry, we focus mainly on the Indian styling. So we have Meenakari jewelry, we have Jadao jewelry, we have temple jewelry, we have great Indian designs, integrate flowers, integrate mango shapes, and everything that you can think of. And we are by far a huge player to reckon with in that space of plain gold. What we want to do today is to hear from our panel how can things or how the future is going to look like and how the scenarios are changing over the past few years. Although we predominantly today talk and focus on the pandemic and its effects, actually in reality, the gem and jewelry industry for a few years, even before the pandemic, has been having challenging times. And what we want to hear today from this panel is how they had planned to address those challenges, how they are planning to address it going forward, and how they see India getting the glory and retaining its supremacy in the gem and jewelry category. Having said that, let me start with my first question, which is addressed to all the three exporters. Okay. On an absolute scale, as I just mentioned, even before the pandemic, we were having challenges, and the global gem and jewelry demand had been on the downturn. What do you feel is the way that we can go forward? What had you planned at that time? And considering the current pandemic, what are the kind of changes you expect within the framework of the export market to tap international customers? And how do you see yourself going forward? I think I'd like Chirag to answer that question first. I'm going to take you through the pipeline.
Thank you, Aman bhai. Good evening, everyone. And I think as Ashok bhai mentioned that I joined business in 2008, and that time we had, I mean, at least I already saw the global meltdown that happened. So it was already tough getting into the diamond industry, and things were not as easy as what earlier people had seen. So as I started with my loose, coming to my loose diamonds office, I think straight away I felt that going online, being transparent to the customers is very important in today's world. So from day one, building the website, and so technologically, I was getting more hands-on in terms of attracting the clients. And I mean, we've seen also since especially in last 5-6 years, that a lot of online platforms have come. I mean, Rappaport has been there since a long time, but James Allen, IDEX Online, and few new players that are there right now, like Get Diamonds and Market.Diamonds, Nevoda. So I think a lot of my focus was also physically, also exhibitions were important, but also with that technology that was very helpful in terms of expanding the business, reaching the customers, going to clients that I wouldn't have probably gone physically to meet. So online made it very easier for us to catch up with the client. So yeah.
Okay, Ankit, can you take the question next? I go to a combination of you and Chirag, and later to Ashish.
Sure. As like Chirag, I also joined the business right during the Lehman crisis, and luckily my platform was a lot more easier because we were the leading exporters since '94. So I joined in 2008. The major difference that I felt was the customers used to come from, let's say, US, Dubai, UK to our offices, till about 2007. But post that, there was a disruption for about a year or so in the export industry. So what we understood was that, as he said that they went online, we did a lot of video conferencing. So a lot of customers didn't want to come, or they were not very new customers were not very saying, if I'm traveling so much, what if your product is not good or whatever. So we were doing a lot more video conferencing, a lot more FaceTiming, live streaming and showing on them our collections. So that helped us in terms of gaining back people who had stopped coming to us for 2 years, for example, during the crisis, and in fact gave us a lot more strength to get other customers on board post that. So from 2010 to 16, it was another very strong drive for us in the export market, to get a lot more customers than we already had in the last few years before the crisis. And also that because of the gold prices were rising during that time, it went from almost from $1,000 to $1,900. Then obviously it did a crash come in 2013. But we also had to improvise on a lot more lightweight items, a lot more daily wear items in terms of the younger generation. So what we do, unlike diamond jewelry, for gold jewelry, we cater to a lot of NRIs because there's a lot more traditional aesthetics in the designs. So we had to make sure that we also get the younger generation, which obviously was now born in America, to get used to the gold jewelry wearing. So we had to do that in terms of designing and styling. Mix of these two got us back on track post the crisis, or post after I joined.
So you know what it's like. You had a calling saying that, okay, you're going to need the same technology 12 years down the line, and in 2020 it's all back about video conferencing.
Exactly. So luckily we have that in place. So it makes it a lot more easier for us now, because we already have been doing that. So we need to start doing that for the domestic market as well now.
Absolutely, I quite agree with you. Ashish, what is your take on that? You are a mix of gold and jewelry, but you are not in the kind of gold jewelry that Ankit would really be the one who's going around selling. What has been your take? How have you seen the whole scenario?
Good evening, Heman bhai, and good evening to all. Thank you for having me here. My take is that I would bifurcate this question into two parts. First is before pandemic. So in the whole world, the diamond jewelry retail sales has been dropping in terms of the top line numbers. However, we at Gold Star, we had some aggressive strategies in place, and actually last 3 years we have been growing double-digit growth year on year. And that was something that started when about 3.5 years back, Gold Star management wanted to push some aggressive buttons and wanted to cover the market shares. And we had the strategies in place in terms of what we are going to do, how we are going to have a retail counter showcase space. And we actually went upscale into our product line. So our average FOB or per value FOB of each unit was raised up, along with better diamond qualities. And also we had a co-license agreement that we signed in with 2 big bridal brands. And we took the worldwide distribution, manufacturing and distribution of the bridal jewelry, identifying that bridal jewelry is going to be always there. Bread and butter or daily wear jewelry, there were losing of margins, there were dropping of price points. CVD lab grown was coming. We all realized that. Even 3 years back, it was there on that. So bridal jewelry, we identified as a forte, and we pushed that button at that time. And we were fortunate enough to get a lot of counter showcase spaces with the 2 big brands that we acquired for co-licensing agreement we did for, and we upscale our diamond jewelry forte in that. Obviously, along with investments in technology, improvisation in processes, implementation of Lean Six Sigma manufacturing to cut down unnecessary fats, etc., that helped the company to grow tremendously over the last 3 years. So definitely that is something that has been there. And if we wouldn't have this pandemic, probably we would have continued this journey of growth. Now it's like a pause time. We are revisiting what we have implemented, what needs to be next in terms of coming years to come at the same time. And that's something that implementation, the thoughts are on and the implementation is also going to be on. Going digital will be the new way, etc., etc.
Digital space is going to get overcrowded, yes.
Absolutely.
And nobody is going to be able to live without it.
Yeah.
Now, my next question is this. Considering the pandemic, everything I read about and even my personal experiences with the various consultancies that I do, both within India and predominantly in the US, everybody is talking of a dynamic shift in the consumer preferences and spending levels after the pandemic. I would like first the people who are on the floor, who are facing consumer to answer this question. And I would ask Sunilji, if you can please give us your take on this.
Sure, Hemant bhai. So thank you for having me here. So initially, when pandemic hit in US in March, we are predominantly B2C. We are actually 99% B2C company through television and e-com in US and UK. And last 5 years, we've been experiencing double-digit growth consistently. But as soon as pandemic hit in March, our return rates jumped up almost double than what we had before, because people were nervous and wanted to not pay the credit card bills. They could return, so they returned. But in April onwards, April, May, June, and even July, we are seeing our growth rate really jump high. So it used to be 15%, 17% growth. Now we're experiencing almost 30% growth, because people are staying home, people have time, and also they're searching through web and television both. So we sort of benefited of the pandemic. The price points we saw initially in April and early part of May, people were going for lower price points. And when the stimulus money came in, we started seeing high price point also selling. The diamonds and the higher price point gemstones, 18 karat gold, platinum, they started to sell well that time. So our return rates went down because of lockdowns. People didn't return product much. So in a way, we saw rapid changes in the marketplace, from high returns to low returns, low price point to high price point. And we expect to see the continued elevated performance till the time that there is a lockdown continuing. And even after lockdown, with the changes that we put in place, we expect to see decent double-digit growth for years to come.
Congratulations and all the best to you. Chandubai, I would like your take on the same question. What do you think is the effect of the pandemic on the consumers' buying choices?
First of all, very good evening to all our viewers and listeners today, and namaskar. I am not so much directly consumer-oriented business. I am a wholesaler mainly. So I can tell you from the point of view of the retail jewelers.
Yeah.
You see, rather than the retailers, we have heard already 3 experts talk about the diamond jewelry. But when it comes to the Middle East market and the gold retailers, there is a little bit of uncertainty. You see, what is happening here in the Middle East especially is there is a lot of people who have lost their jobs. We don't have too many local population. Our population is mostly expatriates from different countries. And that is true for almost all the Middle East countries. And due to this uncertainty of the jobs, people have started trying to conserve whatever monies they have, and gold being one of the discretionary purchases is the first to be hit, and that is the reason we are not seeing too much sales at the retail level. Having said that, last month, in the end of June, we had fantastic sales in Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia implemented 15% VAT, which was 5% up to 30th of June, and from 1st of July it is 15%. So there was a big offtake, and many of the retailers in Saudi have already sold off all their stocks. So there is a good demand right now, but unfortunately, the flights are still not operational, and we are still in a lockdown situation as far as international travel is concerned. See, Dubai is very, very proactive, and I think the government here did a fantastic job. We are having a negative growth in the virus. From 15,000 infected people today, we are down to almost only 7,500 or 7,800 infected people in the country. So they have controlled it very well. They have opened all the airports, but tourist flights are still not coming. So as soon as tourism starts, people will be coming back to Dubai because this is their preferred destination for sourcing their jewelry. See, Dubai is unique because here in one building or in a couple of buildings, you can find jewelry made in almost every manufacturing center in the world. So, anybody, be it America, be it UK, be it Australia, anywhere, they can find their choice, and they can find the choice in all their carriages, 18 karat, 21 karat, 22 karat, and now even 14 karat ready-made jewelry is available. Plus even diamond jewelry is available. So I think it's a matter of time, maybe a few months more, and things will start getting a little normal. I cannot say normal. Normal we can expect maybe in the next 12 months, but not before, definitely. Plus, there is a little bit of increase in the gold price. So again, gold has become expensive. And being a discretionary purchase, people are still taking a pause. Maybe they want to wait and watch. So all in all, business is a little depressed, but the spirits are high.
That's great. As long as the spirit is there, everything will work. Let me now go to Ankit. Ankit, how do you see your plain gold jewelry export in the current scenario and in the future, considering not only the price factor, but even the after effects of the pandemic?
So I think in terms of exports, with the stimulus packages that the US and UK have given, there has been a good solid demand coming in. Obviously, it is to do with let's say a lighter weight items, but I think the only focus that you got to do with the gold prices rising, and also the euphoria of gold that is going to go to, let's say, $2,400 or whatever people are talking about. That is also getting to the salary individual. So those are also getting in to buy jewelry. So the only thing as exporters and manufacturers, what we can do is just concentrate on what you can do with a lot more lighter and Western. Obviously, you have your classic Indian style to it, but if you stick to it too much, the younger generation abroad, even though they're Indians, are not liking it too much. So the only thing that you have to concentrate is make sure that you make it a lot more Western. At the same time, you can't lose your handmade touch to it, because then it becomes a general Italian product. You got to make sure that it's made in India. It has the culture, but at the same time, it can be wearable. So that's something that you got to concentrate on. And otherwise, I think there is demand. We need just to cater it in the right manner.
You just preempted an answer to the next thing I was going to ask you. Is that, are we as Indians capable of making the Italians run for their money?
Not directly, but in a sense that if you create a fashion of something that you can still have that cultural touch, at the same time, the aesthetics of the design can look Western, which is a very tricky thing. But over time and experience, I think you can honestly get there and understand what you need to do. So I won't say give them run for the money, but rather keep pace with them in a different category or vertical.
Hemant, can I add something here?
Yes, of course, Sindhu bhai.
as a person who is sitting outside, I think as India, if the policies are correct, and if we can encourage the manufacture of jewelry, I don't think there is any jewelry in the world which we cannot manufacture.
Absolutely. I
Because
completely
we
agree.
have the best
I
artisans.
agree the same thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm
We
just
have the
saying
best
that in the
artisans.
handmade sector.
Yeah, no, not only handmade. I say we have the best artisans. We have the best brains. When it comes to even technology, it is our people who are operating the machines in many places also.
Agreed.
Okay, so if we get the government support which is required, we get the institutional support which is being given to other countries in other countries. For example, in Turkey, you see, Turkey there was manufacturing was very low, and today it has become almost equal, or maybe has already replaced Italy in some ways. Why? Because the government is very proactive. There is a lot of incentives given to the manufacturers for export. You know, I don't know whether all of us are aware or not. The Turkish Borsa gives almost 50 to 80% of the cost of your exhibitions outside the country for exports. So you see, it is a very good government support. Now, if we can get a similar support as India, I think we can beat any country when it comes to manufacture of our jewelry. You know, you give one piece of our Meenakari jewelry to Italian and say, can you please make this? They'll quote you $50 and still they won't get it. So we have the best skill. I think we are underutilizing our skill.
All right. On this point, Chandubhai, I'd like to point out one thing. It's a personal thing. I run a company called Alcraftist, where I make jewelry using various Indian crafts like dokra, bidri, paper mache, etc. And now we are working on tarakashi and wood carving also.
Wow.
And we make very modern designs using those traditional crafts. And we met with tremendous success. And you know what is the best part of it, Chandubhai? And I think all of us should take a note of this and try to work along those lines, is that because such things cannot be made in any other country, I have no price competition.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's one of the big advantages.
But here you see, if you had support from some
of course,
marketing, you're much greater.
It would have been exponential. Yes. I definitely agree with you. Ashish, I'd like you to answer this question, but with you, I want it with a certain twist. You are one of those guys who has started with manufacturing modern Western jewelry. And then, as I said, in the year 2000, when everybody started, you also got into manufacturing jewelry for the Indian market. How are you going to address your export business and, if possible, create niches for yourself? I know you guys have solid plans, and I don't expect you to share all of it, but give us an insight. Give us a teaser, so to say.
So, Hemant bhai, right now we are facing kind of two challenges. Obviously, one is pandemic and the pocket share or the consumer money. We are not very uncertain. You know, as Sunil ji said, the temporary stimulus packages has come in United States and UK, and at the same time, consumer is spending money based on the revenge shopping kind of a say at the moment. How long this will last will be a question. We see that the current surge of demand will continue till July end or let's say August, and after that it will settle down when the actual reality of the US economy comes in play, wherein the consumer now has to go to work and still make money for themselves. And with the rising unemployment rates, I do not know where they are going to get that kind of money. With this challenge, one side, at the same time, we also see a great opportunity because gold prices has gone up. We see that the consumer returning the products back to the pawn shops, etc., they will have still their money left and their consumer confidence will be back in the gold. Okay, and based on that, obviously we are launching some of the new collections. The product development is in pipeline because based on the current gold prices, we had to retweak the jewelry that we used to. So normally in a kind of a depression, we would have gone to basic kind of a scenario. We go back to basic and sell bread and butter items. Instead of it, we have taken a little different turn and we are launching a big collections in terms of, which is kind of a combo of a product mix where it brings aesthetics along with a great perceived value using the technology. So that is going to be the key driving factor for us as far as the coming years to come, at least for next 12 months to come, I would say that, because next 3 or 4 months is going to be still challenging at the moment. But assuming we have some kind of a better cure available as for this virus is concerned, consumer confidence will be back, life will start coming back to normal. And that's what my take would be.
Chirag, I have the same question, but along a little different line. that you are, I'm not talking about your jewelry business, but I'm talking about your diamond business, where you are having a certain set of products. Now, how are you using your own resources at jewelry or with other people to whom you are vendors to create a product that is going to be successful post the pandemic?
In terms of the loose.
In terms of the loose, yes.
I mean, see, as Mr. Sunil said, and I think even Ashish Bhai mentioned that in US, bridal jewelry is always going to be in demand. I mean, even if we see during pandemic, I'm hearing there are still engagements happening, weddings happening. The life is moving on. The demand is there. So I think, I mean, what I see is that in terms of use, the demand will be there. The demand will never die. It's just, I mean, what people were buying, example, 1 carat, they'll go down to 70 pointer or a 80 pointer or a 90 pointer, depend on their, budget. But, and I think, also in terms of demand, I think I see US to be. I mean, even before pandemic, it was little slow, but I don't see US market in particular to be as bad. I think that is what you are asking, right, Hemant bhai?
So what I want to know is that, or let's see, I have this theory that because of the pandemic, I would expect that every stage of the pipeline to hold hands better than they have been doing in the past.
Right.
That is where my question was directed to you. Okay, how are you as a base raw material supplier of polished diamonds going to work with your jewelry manufacturers or even with your retailers whom you sell some of your diamonds directly to grow this business?
I mean, as I mentioned in your first question, to online, doing business online is right now at this, even during pandemic and especially post pandemic, I feel online business, as I think Mr. Sunil said that they have a tele shopping channel as, I mean, they do supply on tele shopping as well. So, I mean, that is a very good business in US. That I mean, it's not as successful as it is in US, in India. So I think online it has to be from, I mean, customizing jewelry, giving option to clients to customize jewelry. So from choosing a diamond to the design of the ring. So everything has to be channelized in a particular way so that the client doesn't have to, he doesn't have to leave the comfort of his home and still do the same business that he's doing by actually visiting the physical store.
Okay. Now, the next question I'm asking you, I want all of you all to answer me that. But do you believe that today is a stage? And okay, I'm making a statement first, which I don't know, which is highly debatable, but I would believe that India controls and financially supports a huge chunk of the global jewelry business at various stages of the pipeline. Now, considering that, do you think this is the time for the Indian exporter, Indian manufacturer, Indian diamantaire working with their importing partners to create D2C, direct to consumer brands from India and go ahead and push themselves or partner with retailers across the world to go ahead and push themselves as their product with their name tag rather than just being a back-end manufacturer? Ashish, let me start with you on this question.
So Hemant bhai, your point is very valid. and something that is what we identify. But creating a D2C brand sitting in India itself is a huge challenge, and in terms of the financial commitment as well. And that's where Gold Star partnered with the successful bridal brands 3 years back and created, and both of them are, the name is very known in the industry, called Zach Posen and Monique Lillier. They both are very successful bridal brands, and we co-license with them by taking their licenses and push on the retail counter that this is the brand they need to carry along with our jewelry. So earlier we were also selling bridals, but those bridals were obviously selling like a generic SKUs, and it was at the mercy of the retailer whether to carry or not to carry, or when the SKU dies, etc. But with these two brands, we are pushing that on the retail counter. So I feel that is a better option that we have opted for instead of creating our own D2C brand. And probably we will consider doing the third brand as well in nearby future also on the similar lines.
Great. Ankit, what is your take on this?
So again, not like Ashish bhai, we are not very international in terms of our customer base, and stick to our NRIs, or rather Southeast Asian, including Bangladeshis and Pakistanis and Sri Lankans. What we've done in the last 25 years of export is create a brand of our own in terms of VMC products or so and so forth. So we partner with a lot of wholesalers across the world, and also retailers. But now what happens is you can't cater to all retailers in the US. So that's the reason I cater to the wholesalers, and over time we've understood from them that what we need to do to kind of for them to tap other retailers. And in that sense, what we've done is, with the constant product that we've manufactured, the retailers that do not get our products in turn tell the wholesalers that we need VMC products. So indirectly, what you're saying, that gives a larger scheme of things, but we're doing that at a very smaller level in terms of the Southeast Asian customers, I feel.
So do you believe there is an opportunity to expand that?
There is. And just make sure that you hit at it a lot harder than I have done before, maybe.
Okay. Chandu bhai, you as one of the largest importers from India, do you see the Indian export opportunity where you can, create strategic alliances with them to go this route?
Yeah, definitely. You see, I think, as I said earlier, our jewelry is unique, and there is always going to be a demand for it. It is a matter of time. We as Seroya Jewelers have aligned with some of our partners in India. When I say partners, I mean my business partners. We have only a few suppliers in India, and I think they have been supporting all of us. Rather, each of us have been supporting each other. They don't sell to others the kind of jewelry which we import from them. So there is a little bit of our jewelry, and that's the reason of our success also. So I have friends from India who have been supplying good jewelry. To those people who have not been supplying to me, or from whom we have not been buying, I would say that there is a market for everything. And I don't think we should be desperate. And my only advice would be, please do not undersell your pricing, because you see what happens is, when the market is slow, they start undercutting the prices. Even at cost they start selling, and it becomes very difficult to increase the pricing once we have already reduced it. So that would be the only thing. And I think there is a very good scope. We have to be innovative, as has been said by my other friends, and we have to find ways in which we can reach our customers if the customers cannot reach us. And that is what we have started doing here. We have started showing jewelry by Zoom to our customers who cannot travel to us. And they cannot travel, but there is a Brinks, there is a G4S, their services are available. So we've been able to send the jewelry to them by showing them through the net online, and taking the orders and giving the orders. And similarly, we have been importing also based on the online orders which we are receiving from our customers. We have ordered to our exporters, and they have been exporting. So I think the cycle has started, and I see a bright future. I am not desperate at all. I am very, very confident of our jewelry.
Thank you. Sunilji, you are already in this space, okay, and you have been there for a few years and you've created quite a brand yourself. What is your advice to the exporters from India on how to go about this particular aspect of the business?
This is a good question, Himan Bhai. We have been able to create our own brands, and we see that if the brands are there with the meaningful attributes, and if we stay honest to those attributes, so there's aspirational value in the brands for consumers' mind. So they come back for the same brand, knowing that they can expect certain quality in those brands. So even having our in-house brands has been valuable for us. And the percentage of sales coming from in-house brands has been going up for us. And as Ashish Bhai said, what we have done is also partner with certain outside designers to create brands for them. We manufacture ourselves in our factories in India and China, and they come on air or online. We sell on our platforms with their name. So that again creates a aspirational value in those brands. Now, as Ashish Bhai said, it is not easy to create brand out of India and sell in US and UK, because it's pretty expensive to create brand awareness for a new brand to come. So I would agree with Ashish Bhai's advice is to partner with a name brand or name there or designer there, or maybe buy an old brand which is struggling and then go to the market with that brand. You see, the jewelry market size in US has continually increased over the last 10, 12 years, ever since the financial crisis, so low to mid single digits. But the branded share has gone up more than the jewelry growth rate.
Right.
And there's another statistics I was reading for preparing for this meeting, is that the wedding rate in US has steadily gone down. So in 1982, there were 10.6 weddings per 100,000 per 1,000 people in US. Has gone down to 6.5 in 2018. So the wedding rate has gone down consistently, but the jewelry market has gone up. So in my opinion, the market has changed from bridal to the other types of markets. As the other speaker said, the personalized jewelry has gone up. We feel that too. The occasion jewelry has gone up. The birth rate or the initials or the zodiac sign jewelry or storied jewelry, for example, we sell the branded jewelry with the designer's name. So the market shape has changed. So partnering with a designer here or an old brand would be a good way to go forward, because a bridal as such or OEM business as such will squeeze the margins.
I quite agree. The branded promise, especially among the millennials and the youngsters today, carries a lot of value, and therefore they are willing to splurge or pay a better margin than you would find for the general unbranded material. I quite agree with you. At this stage, I'd like to take a question which may not be something that everybody wants to discuss, but which is at the top of my mind. And this question starts with Chirag. Chirag, how do you see the role of lab-grown diamonds in the future of the jewelry business?
So I mean, from what I know, I mean, I'm quite new to the industry still, but I think the American diamonds or the cubic zircons that we usually say, they were, I think, costing a lot, but eventually down the line the prices came down. And the same level of questions have been raising in terms of the CVD rough pricing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the demand is still going to be there. I feel the especially in jewelry, the parallel business is still going to be there. People are still, I mean, in US especially, people have already started, buying the series lab grown diamond. At the end, I feel it's still a man-made diamond. It's not a natural diamond. The attachment that needs to be there is not there when we talk about lab grown diamond. Um, I mean, um, in longer period, I don't see natural diamond getting, especially the when I say not that much, the larger stones or the certified stones, I don't see it getting affected a lot. Smaller parcels like star malays, plus 11s, and all those things, I feel they might be affected up to certain level. And I think we've seen that already in last 1 or 2 years that the prices of the natural smaller parcels have gone down. But I don't see it going down any further than this. I mean, people who want to buy natural are still going to buy natural. They don't go behind a lab grown diamond that, okay, fine, lab grown diamond is cheaper. Let me buy it. No, the sentiment is still there towards the natural diamond.
Ashish, what is your take on this?
Lab grown is definitely here, and it is going to stay, and it is going to grow. Absolutely. It will find its own niche on the retail counter where it will coexist with the natural diamond jewelry. And obviously, consumer understands also, because of the mass media and social media. Consumer has the awareness of what is the difference between natural diamond and my natural mined diamond, as well as the lab grown diamond. And at the same time, as long as, and because of the technology which has come, which is to detect the natural separate and lab grown separate, that technology has helped to clear any kind of confusion which was there in the mind of any of the people in the pipeline, whether it was a retailer or a consumer. So as long as we continue with that differentiation, both the product line is going to be differentiated. I think natural diamonds share may go little down because lab grown will grow. But at the same time, I personally feel lab grown will take away some share of cubic zirconia jewelry as well. So, but definitely it is going to stay and it is going to grow further from here on.
Sunilji, can I ask you this question? You have the pulse of the end consumer all the time. You know it best from all of us sitting here. What is your take on the lab grown diamond and the consumer interest and reaction?
So, having seen the example of lab-grown ruby, sapphire, emerald, they've been with us for decades, and that has not impacted natural ruby, sapphire, emerald in any way. So that business or the value of those have continued to go up over the decades. So I suspect similar trajectory for lab-grown diamond as well. It will coexist along with natural with the clear detection ability. The consumer won't be confused, and that would not impact our natural diamond business. But as has happened with natural lab-grown ruby, sapphire, emerald, the prices continue to go down to the marginal cost of the lab-grown precious stones, because there is nobody who makes the market and the supply is sort of unlimited. The prices will continue to go down. So it will not be seen as an investment product as natural diamond is seen. It will be seen as a fashion product. Similar to what De Beers has done with their light box, they're creating it as a fashion line. And I see that happening more and more with the prices continuing to go down. But they will coexist along with natural.
Can I ask you one very specific question, Sunilji? What is the current sentiment of the consumer when it comes to lab-grown diamonds, according to you?
So initially there was a confusion, but people are coming to accept it more and more. So this is a product line that is there in the market, and there's a clear differentiation in that. So if people declare it openly, or the retailers declare it openly, then the consumer accepts it. And many people who believe in sustainability, they go for it. Some people go for cost reason. So there are different motivation for consumer to go for it. As I said, it will coexist, but it won't be an investment commodity that the natural diamond is.
do you today promote any lab-grown diamond jewelry on your channel?
No, because when we sell a product, we sell it based on it will either sustain the value, either it is a fashion product which is below $100. So that is sold as a fashion. If we sell something in gold or with natural stone, we sell it as a reservoir of value.
Okay.
And the lab-grown diamond, we can't say is a reservoir of value, because I believe it will continue to go down in value.
So, Chandubai, let me ask.
Hemant, yes. I have an opinion on this.
Yes, of course, Chandubai.
I believe we are all trying to hide it under the carpet. I don't think the lab-grown diamonds are going to be only a fashion product. I think even for diamond jewelry, for example, if somebody buys a diamond jewelry today and they want to sell it back, they will not get more than 30-40% of what they paid. So there is no investment value in that also. So I think over a period of time, both of them will coexist, as Sunil Bhai has said, and both of them will be preferred by different classes of people. But when you go for the higher sizes, as has been said by my other colleague, that it may not impact, I think it will impact very well, because bigger lab-grown diamond will always be more better than a similar looking or similar size diamond, which is a natural diamond. And the price difference is going to be very huge when it comes to the bigger stones. So I believe people who are on the fringe and want to invest, say, X amount of dollars, and they have only that many dollars, they would prefer to buy the bigger size of diamonds, because nobody is going to hang the certificate with their jewelry that, okay, this is lab grown or this is a natural diamond. So I think for the millennials, it is going to become a statement to wear bigger diamonds, and they may not be able to afford the natural diamonds. So the demand for the lab grown diamonds is going to increase. This is my personal belief, and I think very strongly in it.
Okay.
You were asking me a question now. You
have preempted, you have already answered the question I was going to ask at that time. But now I have another question for you. Considering the current scenario, Chandubai, as an importer, what is your wish list about the kind of products, services, etc., that you want the Indian exporter to offer?
I have only one wish list.
Tell me.
The Indian exporter, if he continues to be an exporter and does not open his own office in the foreign cities and comes and sells it at the Indian cost, the exports will increase. See, today what is happening is many of our exporter brothers, what they are doing is they are opening offices outside the country and then selling at the same price. So they are actually killing the market. They are not creating a market, they are killing the market. And as has been rightly said by one of our, in the chat box I saw, that people are exporting at very low cost, and they are exporting directly to the retailers also in other countries. So thereby the wholesalers who were actually becoming the supplier for that exporters and his own office in a different country are going out of business. So increasingly people will start losing their interest in the wholesale business, because the wholesalers are funding the business. You see, the exporters are getting their money within a specific time. The wholesalers are actually funding their business, which is funding the retailers to have the stocks. So you see, when we cut out one wholesaler, the retailers will be having a problem with the stocks, and the exporter will have to start funding it. And then there could be bad debts also. So I believe if all of us stick to our rules, there is a margin and there is a place for everybody. As far as the Indian wish list is concerned, I just wish that the Indian government becomes a little more proactive, and they start following what they have been always saying, ease of doing business. There is still a lot to be done in the ease of doing business. The moment India starts that, okay, you can bring in gold, deposit at the airport, put it at the customs. Okay, you go out, you buy your jewelry, give the instructions to the customs or to Brinks or G4S to deliver that many kilos of gold to that exporter. Things will become very, very easy. And many more, I think, foreign companies will come and set up bases in India, because you see, the cost of their operation is going to be maybe 1/3 of Europe or half of Europe. So I don't see any reason why they should not be allowed. They should not come there. Also, one more thing is, in the export-oriented units where many foreigners are setting up or would like to set up, the government should give some permission to sell a part of it to the local trade also. to the local market. So what happens is, if a manufacturer set up his unit in a free zone, for example, okay, and he's exporting, sometimes if the export market is not good, he should be allowed to sell a part of his product to the local markets also. Then there will be a boom, because then people will be more attracted to come to India, invest in larger amounts in technology, everything, because they will get a part access to the Indian markets also, which is very difficult right now. So I think it can be a win-win if the government starts putting all the policies in place to make it as easy to do business.
I agree. But coming to the last point that you mentioned, Ashish, I'd like your feedback. I thought that the SEZs are allowed to sell a certain part of their production to the domestic market.
Yeah, but at a very higher duty. So that makes it economically unviable.
I get it. Okay, so now, Chandubai, you made a point which I did not originally include as my plans for questions tonight. But since this is the second time you have made the plan, I want to ask, starting with Ankit. Ankit, what do you think are the government benefits that you desperately want to grow your business, say, threefold in the next 3 years?
Why that long sigh?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I didn't originally want to get into this aspect.
No, but it's a very important thing
knows
to discuss. Yeah, it's a very important thing to discuss.
Yeah.
What's the wish list from the government to increase our business?
So I'm deviating. I'm hitting everybody below the belt because I not told them I wouldn't be asking anything like this.
But no, but I honestly think I'm looking, just kind of, running through it in my head, and I honestly don't feel any particular thing can be or should be changed, rather than making things a lot easier when it comes to exports, when it comes to the customs. That would be a lot more beneficial. I think the rest, I feel, the GST returns and all were an issue before, the duty part which they block, and the refund didn't come in time. I think that's a lot more smoother, but I feel the nitty-gritties of basic export when it comes to the customs and all, and blocking the bonds and not releasing them, that's more of an issue rather than any other thing that I'm thinking of, honestly.
Okay. Ashish, what is your take on this, please?
I think I would say we are in SEZ, so we are quite comfortable along with the custom rules and procedures, etc. But I would say there are only two things. I would say that labor laws of the country needs to go for a reform, because there are, we are in a position not to approach certain high-end brands based on the certain laws that prevails in the country. And so far we are selling into a mid-market segment, but there is all the reason that why any manufacturer shouldn't be selling to Tiffany or Cartier in that particular location. Okay, but we have all the capabilities and we have all the technology and we have all the artisans, but certain labor laws and certain ease of importing certain parts like ceramics and stuff like that we are not allowed to do it in the zone. That kind of stuff should be allowed. So that will help and boost. I would say that is the only thing I would say that that is required to boost.
Chirag, what is your take on this?
I think Ankit and Ashish have already answered, but yeah, I would say the same. I mean, the main thing is labor law and customs making it easy to actually send the shipment. And because you see, even during the pandemic, even during this time, I'm seeing that, with example, if with my client, I have a payment terms of 10 days, my shipment is still in India for 7 days. When it should be reaching my client at least in 2 days, the shipments are still lying in customs office. So how do the client, and then the client is like, what, Chirag, I'll just source it locally. You don't bother shipping. So all these, it should be made easier, especially during these difficult times. But I don't see much help in terms of customs.
Chirag, to be fair, the way I look at it is that these are difficult times even for the customs and the government. there is a manpower shortage. There are various things. I mean, I have been in conversation with some of the customers because I do talks for them also.
Right.
And they are also under a lot of stress. Like they stop imports for 2 days so that the exports can be cleared. And there are various things, but when they stop imports, then the factories stop. You know, it's a chain reaction.
No, but I mean, in terms of requiring the documents, I mean, it should be made easier, like one document and the export should be done, not like
what are the
like
long
10,
term
15, yeah, not like 10, 15 documents of the same thing. You know, I mean, so yeah, that is something. Yeah.
Sunilji, you are one person who has a finger in every pie. You are a manufacturer in India, you are a manufacturer in China, you are a wholesaler, and you are a retailer with a D2C channel. What is it that you would say the Indian government or the Indian customs should change so that your business, the way you are operating, becomes better?
I think there have been a reduction in red tapeism in the last few years. So that is a welcome change. And as Ashish Bhai said, further easier labor reforms. Now, as we put more restriction to not to fire people, you tend not to hire people. And having that flexibility, like there is such similar flexibility in Western world, would be beneficial for labor themselves. I know labor is a state as well as federal subject. It is a concurrent list, but states can make a change, and many states have made a change in India. But if federal law can come, that will spur the reform in that sector. From the customs point of view, I think it is a continual process, as Chirag Bhai said. Less of red tape will definitely help because as you make it easier for people, the trade really flourishes.
Right. Okay. Now, before we sign off, Ashok Bhai, do I have at least 5-7 minutes more?
You have another hour if you want.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, anybody willing to delay the shots? Let's go on with the thoughts. Anyway, I won't take a long time, but I really want to ask this question.
I have one question which I want to ask after you.
No, go ahead.
After you. No, after you.
Okay, so I have this one question that I have consistently felt. Maybe I'm a pessimist. Maybe I'm not looking at the right side and way of things. But I have consistently felt that over the past few years, especially after The Godfather, and we all know whom I refer to, walked out of the room and stopped advertising, the business has been on a slow but a steady decline. I want to hear each one of your thoughts on how, as I said, we can get back that lost glory. And as Ashish mentioned, the lost share of the wallet of the consumer. Whoever wants to start, whoever wants to take the lead.
I can talk on that if you would permit me. Okay. You see, there used to be a time when the World Gold Council had its agenda for the support to jewelry. And they were supporting the advertising for jewelry all over the world, especially in India and the Middle East also. Last, I think about 10 or 15 years ago, or 12 years maybe, they have changed their track for the international market. They are going only for the, mainly I would say, for the government holding of gold. So they are promoting that in a very big way. So there is no body which actually wants to promote the sale of jewelry. You see, what is happening today is the millennials, they find that, okay, jewelry, my mother used to talk as investment and store of value and all. Today, I want to buy something small and I want to wear it, enjoy it, and forget all about it. But you see, many people now have realized, and I think we should all join hands today. And this COVID has made everybody realize that there are some things which have value and that value will remain forever. And that is jewelry. Okay, so the moment we all join hands and start this process of saying in each and every advertisement of jewelry, be it you, be it me, be it anybody, that jewelry is an investment. the moment we all start putting this message across the world that jewelry is an investment, I think people will start looking at us in a different light. And that is what we need to do as groups, as individuals. Everybody has to talk about our item. This is the only item in the world where you will get a fair value, which you can assess by yourself. You know how much you will get, be it diamond jewelry, be it gold jewelry, be it any jewelry. There is a resale value. You buy the most expensive purse and you take it out of the showroom, you won't even get 20% of that. Okay, so I think this is what we need to do. We all jointly need to promote this.
Right. Who wants to go next? Ashish?
I have
Yes,
something to add. What
Yes,
Chandubhai said, that is what we as youngsters do keep on saying, that we as a diamond and jewelry industry have to realize that our competition is not the companies within the industry. Our
correct.
competition is mainly all these iPhones and apples and Samsungs and LVs, and because I mean, if we don't work as an industry, we are going to lose clients, and that's what we've seen. I mean, people, especially in US, I was there for 3 years, and I've seen during those Black Fridays and stuff, people stand in line to get those TVs and mobiles, and from one night prior, 2 nights prior, they sleep there, and so that kind of hype we do need to
Great.
create in diamond jewelry, so that people, especially the youngsters, do at least you know go make some effort to buy.
I agree with you. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Ashish, can I take
So
you?
I think, yeah, sure. So I think once Big Daddy left our industry in terms of retail advertisements, over last decade, I would say the only company who really did something was Pandora, who created a product differentiation and also did the kind of the advertisement that was needed to boost the jewelry. Yes, it helped themselves, but at the same time, it also attracted young consumers to come back to the stores. That's what I noticed probably in the international market. However, we as a diamond and jewelry industry, because our margins are not that great, or probably we ourselves undersell our product. Because of that, we are not investing back into creating something which is a brand itself. So when I made a statement that we would like to make a coexistence with a successful brand, the only reason is that our margins are not great enough, and we are kind of having a fear of underselling our own products.
Yes, I agree with you. Margins is something that I have been questioning for a few years, not few years, many, many years. But for some reason, we've never got beyond it. We have been always thinking as not creators of even product, but just manufacturers and sellers. There is a difference, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sunil Bhai, Sunilji, what is your take on this?
So, as Ashish Bhai rightly said, the place that DBS left. Sorry, I'm blunt, so I'm saying the name.
Sure.
So the gap that DBS left has to be filled in by other large players. Why the other industry has advertised, because they're really large companies, and the jewelry industries don't have many large players. So that is why I support the LVMH taking over Tiffany, because it creates a larger player who have the financial wherewithal to create that consumer pull by marketing. And as Ashish Bhai said, partnering with brands to create that marketing campaigns which can get the consumer mind share away from iPods of the world or iPads or iPhones of the world. So us partnering together or outside is the only solution I see. The trade bodies like World Gold Councils or Gems Jewellery Council, I don't believe that is a solution. Solution is for us to become larger as a group or partner within the like-minded people to create the brands, or brand together with a designer and with 2 or 3 large players partner to create a common brand and advertise for those brands. That is the only way I see it practically. Others is wishful thinking.
Completely agree. Uh, Ankit, what is your take on it when it comes to plain gold jewelry? How do you see it?
Um, um, in general, any jewelry, I feel the investment part is something that we've been kind of hitting at for the last, I think, 15, 20 years, and rightfully so. And it's probably going to have another parabolic rise, and people understand that. I think if you are creating a brand, like people are seeing of iPhone and not, kind of waiting for it to come out and, sleeping on the roads the day before. What I feel is we might need to start reevaluating what is meaningful for life. For that, I mean to say is, making them sending out as a jeweler community, sending out ads which kind of cater to the brand of jewelry, saying that, you need to buy that to feel good about themselves, to express affection and appreciation for the loved ones, and in these challenging times, and furthermore. So if we start doing that and not only hit on investment part of it, I think it is going to be a lot more helpful for this younger generation that's going to come forward, because that's what they want. They want something that's meaningful for life now. And I think if those kind of ads keep on coming, people will start buying jewelry.
So, before I end, I'd like to make one comment here, which I had made very recently on another platform where I was giving a talk to some jewelry people, is that people my age still would go and think of jewelry as one of my preferred purchases because I had seen the De Beers ads and the heavy advertisement that were going on at that time. My children have never seen those ads. And for them, jewelry has never been something that has been there on their wish list or even something that they desire remotely. Okay. In fact, I know my own daughter who was never keen about jewelry even when she got married. Okay. So that's the thing. And I'd like to, one particular thing that I have been telling people for over 10 years now is that promotions and advertisements are very essential. And the example that I always give them is that if you wink at a girl in the dark, she's not going to see anything and therefore she's not going to respond to it. And when you don't promote and don't advertise, it is like winking at the most beautiful girl on earth, but in the dark. She doesn't know you're making a pass at her. Okay, so we really need to think about this aspect for the future of the industry. And I think there are ways, and some of the things that Sunil Bhai said, that Chandu Bhai said, and all of you all agree on, is something that we need to really think and take forward. I would now like to hand over to Ashok Bhai to take the questions from the audience.
Ashok Bhai, I have a question. Am I audible?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah. The question is that in today's time, when there are not a lot of customers who are coming in to our shop, and a lot of jewelry, in spite of the pandemic, there is some amount of jewelry which is being sold. So, what is the way? Is the virtual way correct way of doing business, and why we as jewelers haven't been very successful in this format? And what are the ways that we can be successful?
Who would like to take that?
So I would just share with some experience. And I'm a manufacturer on a back-end side. I'm not a retailer selling to any consumers. But during these pandemic times, we created sitting at home for one of our retail partner, created a kind of a campaign at the back end where all the photographs and digital media was supported by us. They were representing it to their consumers on Zoom and maybe some Microsoft Teams and various apps. And they were inviting their consumers to virtually look into it, sending it to them to experience it. And then they converted huge kind of a success during this pandemic as well. Because they never had a digital presence earlier. So obviously for them, every additional sale was like an additional sale. But that's how they created using this particular tool. And we on the backend side supported them with all the digital media and the photos and on everything else. So maybe something.
Why is it that the jewelers are not actually getting successful anywhere? This was a great example of what you said of success during the COVID times.
Yeah.
Why are people not getting into the virtual idea so easily in the jewelry segment, or even in the loose stone segment? If you really look at, people are really not getting into the virtual segment. Is there something lacking uh, in the way it is being marketed, or is there something which is not in the right perspective?
So
Can
I would like the panelists
can
to
I,
answer this, but I am
can I,
also going to attempt to answer it later on, Ashok Bhai.
Sure, please.
Please go ahead. Who is starting from the
can
panel?
I don't mind taking that.
Yeah.
Ji Chandu
I
bhai.
believe, the virtual, you see, when you buy jewelry, is more about feeling. It is the feel. You see, you want to see, because every piece of jewelry, every diamond, every stone is going to be different. No two stones will be the same. Even when you have a certificate, you see, you have a VVS G color certificate, even two stones of that will be different. So that is the reason a customer generally wants to see the stone. So what can be done is, you can approach the customer, you can make them aware of your product, you can have that engagement with them, and but the final sale happens when they visit you, because they want to touch and feel it. Now, in some of the European countries, in America for example, there is a lot of mail order businesses which happen. So the jewelry is sent to the customer, they try it on, if they're not happy they return it back. But that is not very relevant in India, because you see, many people would take advantage of that. They will wear the jewelry for one occasion and return it the next day. So that is the reason many jewelers have not actually tried to market that too much. They have tried, but not too much. It was as a back burner side. Okay, hoga to hoga, nahi hoga to no problem, because they had fantastic sales on their own showrooms. But now more and more people are looking at it. So I believe in times to come it will change, and it will change for the better.
Right. Anybody else wants to take that up? Sunil ji?
The master.
Yeah, so we are already virtual and digital since the last 14 years. And what can I say?
Yes, I agree with you.
He's already done it.
Okay. I want to address this question, Ashok Bhai, with your permission. There are two aspects to this. One of the reasons why jewelers have never really created something different is because we are very comfortable in our zone. We do not want to venture out and take a risk or put in that additional effort. And in India specifically, the problem has always been that we have always promoted and sold jewelry as an investment. Now, when you're selling something as an investment, you cannot demand or claim high margins, because then that investment is not going to give returns to the buyer for a long, long time. And therefore, we tend to sell cheap. Okay. Now, because we sell cheap, we cannot take risks. And because of that, and because you are in your comfort zone, you do not try new products, you do not try new designs, you do not spend on marketing, you do not spend on promotion, on various things. Right now, if you see, and I as a consultant know, because I am talking to so many people who want to go digital over the last 4 months, is that it is become a necessity, and that is why they want to do it. Okay, in a few cases, at least in 3 of the customers I'm talking to, they thought that after listening to MindSpeak, and kudos to you guys there, after listening to MindSpeak, they realized that they are missing out on a very important aspect and channel of distribution, and therefore they want to get into it. So it's a question of a mindset. It's a question of how we have been brought up and trained. We need to stop becoming traders, and we need to become wealth creators.
Actually, this question, Hemant initiated because of our MindSpeak webinars that we did on virtual
Right.
selling, if you really look at.
Absolutely.
And I looked at all the alternatives, but not a single alternative was actually, or option was really satisfying me, and the way I am looking like a buyer. When I sit in the shoes of a buyer, you cannot really sell me that goods. And I was thinking continuously, why am I not able to satisfy or be okay with the, is the feel factor so important, and not why? because if I myself am buying diamonds from the BDB offices of say 1 carat and below, even without seeing them, just by the way they are displayed and with the turntable effect which is there, the photographic effect which is available is so crystal clear that though I read the certificate, I can see the diamond exactly the way I want it to show, and I just close the deal over the telephone. Now this is not happening in the jewelry segment at all. They have actually made a big turnaround in the diamond section. Well, the turnaround is not happening particularly in the jewelry section, and I think this is going to be one of the biggest challenges.
No, I see a big shift happening there, Ashok bhai, because the way people are now trying to implement it, the consumers will get used to it. See, any new implementation takes time. Even if you want to implement something within your own factory or your own office, I have this 90-day rule. You make a rule, don't change it for 90 days, listen to all the complaints and the challenges that your team brings to you, but for 90 days, continue with it, because that is the time it takes for acceptance. When you go to an international consumer community, which is so huge, that process is still slower. But once people keep seeing it all the time, once people see, and what is going to happen also is that as they see it on a augmented reality, and then they go into the shop and they realize that, oh yeah, this is how it looked on me, even on the AR. They are going to start accepting it. So it's a gradual process which will have to be built in.
Yes, I agree with you. It is a process, and I think it is also a science. It is an element of science. It is an element of actually creating a real virtual market place which nobody has attempted to build so far.
And I think the transparency and keeping to your words. And when I say keeping to your words, is I've seen a lot in jewelry businesses that when we say 7 days, a lot of time that 7 days can easily go up to 11 or 12 days. See, that is where the I mean that hoti hai chalti hai doesn't work in today's world. Like if you've said 5 days, it has to be 5 days. This is where China is, moving ahead of us, because when they promise it, they are delivering it. Like so that is where I feel the jewelry industry, even in seeds. I mean, from import point of view also, if I'm telling my client that I'll get the piece in 5 days, but I mean, it's customs. I don't know what is going to happen. I mean, clearing my sample pieces and stuff. So there are a lot of things that, I mean, it's all circle, that one thing leads to another thing, and so yeah.
Devendra, you can do the honors now if you feel we have reached our.
Well,
So I have one last question.
yes.
That's for Ankit. Ankit, at this moment today, exporters are not.
Why don't you
there are
speak
no
on the phone? Your voice is not coming.
Yeah, hold on. I will take it on the phone.
No, boliye na.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Better.
Yeah. I was saying that today exporters are exporting, and then they're facing some losses when it comes to the time of rupee fixing. What are the different formats of and ways where a person can fix his gold, at the same time hedges rupee in a way where he's exporting and there is no loss and only the wastage part he's earning? So this question is for you, Ankit.
I think it's quite simple in the sense that, I've been practicing this for a long time. It's basically simple. The day when you are taking your rupee rate for the gold that you have purchased, at the same very time, you make sure you do the export side and the import side, the buy and the sell of the dollar at the same rate, and make sure that you are genuinely doing it regularly and not having your speculation come in the way where you must have heard something about 2 days ago saying that rupee abhi 2 rupiya weak hone wala hai, so let's leave my kind of the amount open. So that's where I think the usual thing happens. Otherwise, all the banks have that simple allowance to let the customers book the import and the export side at the same time. Having the rupee hedge, so that way you are just simply earning that labor that you have priced in for.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It has been a fantastic session. In fact, I'm just waiting for the recording to be sent to me so that I can go through the whole thing again. All the panelists, I really thank you for your candid, frank, honest, and sharing some of the ideas you have which can help the industry go forward in a big way. Starting with Chirag. Chirag, thank you for your insights.
Thank you very much.
Ashish and Ankit, thank you for your insights into the jewelry aspect of
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Heman bhai.
Chandubhai, and thank you very much for your insights. I would love to stay connected and hear more from you. And Sunil, you are truly, I don't know what that God is who has got 5 hands or 10 hands or whatever. I'm not talking of 10 heads. I'm talking of 10 hands. But you are really like that. And I'd love to stay in touch with you and pick your brain some more. Thank you very much, everybody. It has been a wonderful session. And I'm looking forward to rehearing and going deeper into what you have all taught us today. Thank you all.
Thank you all the panelists from our side at MindSpeak. We come back again next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. again with another interesting subject, with another interesting list of speakers. So see you all again. Have a wonderful evening, and Khuda Hafiz, goodbye. All the best.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you, Ashok.
And cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.
Heman bhai, your time starts now.
Absolutely.
Your time starts now.
Thank you, Chief.
Right, Ashish bhai.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Thank you, Chandu bhai. All the best.
Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sunilji, thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra bhai.